What up, though? Mean Meech back at you with some more mean game that you can grow by. Today, November the 15th, 2022, I want you to mark this date down in your calendar. Today is the official date that the global population has surpassed 8 billion people, which got me to thinking about wealth, resources, and the distribution of money and power. How is it that it can be 8 billion people on the planet Earth, but all of the wealth and the power and the resources and the decision making authority is concentrated into the hands of only a few individuals? How is it that out of 8 billion people, so few people have reached $1 billion? And it's only a few thousand people that have reached $1 million. I don't even think it's a million millionaires, which might sound like a million, might sound like a lot, but it's not that much when you're talking about numbers like 8 billion people. And that's just 8 billion people who currently alive right now. Think about all the people who have lived and died over the years, right? So, keeping it specific to our culture, I think that we having a problem understanding the difference between money and wealth, or even understanding the concept of wealth, period, right? So money is earned. You get a job, you go to work, you get paid by the hour, you earn an income. Income is not wealth. Even though money can be a form of wealth, money itself is not wealth. Wealth is not earned. Wealth is accumulated, right? So to give you a good example about wealth, wealth can be passed down, for one. Wealth is not earned. So a job, you can't inherit a job. Your kid can grow up, and if you work at the same job that you worked at since they was born, you can get them a job. But you can't pass them down your specific position. Y'all both can work at the same job, but you can't give them your job, because a job is earned income as opposed to wealth, which is accumulated, and wealth can be passed down. So a good example of this would be my grandmother, right? I want to use my grandmother's house. So my grandmother passed away, RIP, but her house is still in the family. A few family members live there now. I can go live there if I so choose, and then we would just be sharing the house. Obviously I would have to contribute to the bills and the food and the upkeep of the house, so forth and so on. But the house is paid for. There's no rent, there's no mortgage on the house. Now, if I look at the going rate of renting my own house or paying a mortgage on my own house, right? Let's just keep it a roundabout number. Hypothetically, say 1,000 a month. I pay more than 1,000 a month. But say the going rate for me to live in my own house would be about $1,000 a month. But I choose not to have my own house for whatever reason, and I decide to go stay at the family house. I'm going to stack my bread. So every single month that goes by that I'm not paying $1,000 a month to somebody other than myself is wealth that I'm accumulating. My grandmother, even though she's already dead and gone, is giving me $1,000 every single month worth of wealth. $1,000 cash is not necessarily wealth, but by her being able to save me $1,000 a month while I live in a home that she worked and paid for, she's giving me $1,000 every single month. It's hard for us to understand this concept as a people because, for one, a lot of us don't have an asset that we can pass down to somebody that can either save them some money or, even better, they can use to make money. So this is the difference between money and wealth. Now, say I stay in the house for a period of time, 6 months, a year. I stack my bread. I save up on a down payment for a mortgage to get my own home. And I get my own home. And eventually in my lifetime, I pay off my home. Then the home that I now own is also falls under the category of wealth that my grandmother passed to me, even though I worked for the home. But if had I not been able to stay in the home that she left to save my money for the down payment, I would have never got the home that I end up paying off. So now when I pass the home on to my child and keep them from paying somebody else's mortgage or allowing the bank to collect interest as they pay off their mortgage, then my grandmother gave my kid wealth, even though it came through me. But I would have never had the home if she never left her home and I didn't save up the money for the mortgage for my home that I now pass to my kids. So that's an example of wealth. That's how wealth works. That's how generational wealth works. Simply having money does not mean you have wealth. You can have $1 million, but you can have $1 million of debt and $1 million of cash at the same time, especially if you own a business. You got inventory, you got uncleared checks, you got stuff that's in the workings, you got sales that you made that you haven't collected the money on yet. You got money you borrowed, mortgage, bills, insurance, so forth and so on. So just because you have $1 million does not mean you have wealth, right? But $1 million can be a form of wealth because you can invest $1 million to make more dollars, or you can use the $1 million to give to somebody else to cost them to not have to pay money that they otherwise would have been paying. So that's the big difference between money and wealth. And as long as we keep not doing the wealth thing, we keep chasing the money and we not building the type of infrastructure that's enabling somebody else to benefit from the work that we put in, then we're never going to accumulate wealth. It can be 16 billion people on the planet and we still going to be stuck in position. That's why they says money makes money, the rich get richer, and the poor just keep getting more poor. So switch your mind frame. Chase the bag, get the bag, but use the bag to put yourself in position to accumulate wealth, not just accumulate more and more money. Because the more and more money you're trying to accumulate, the more and more time that you're spending not doing other things that you could have been doing to increase your wealth. So that's all I have for this one. Holla.